Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Saturday morning show. Today, we're going to talk about how to get more rent. I'm sure that'll grab a lot of your attentions. But yeah, so really that high impact and low cost upgrades that really maximise your buy-to-let profits. And that's what we're going to cover today, Kerin.
So I'm sure all those small little gains to get you more money in your pocket.
Yeah, and I think, and like we say, like high impact, low cost upgrades, there's a lot of things you could do without really completely breaking the budget, but still obviously doing something that's really a good standard and puts the entire standard of the property at a different level, I think, as well. And when you've got that higher standard of property, you could command higher rents, and tenants are willing to pay that as well, Kerin. I mean, you meet tenants every day, and when you walk into something that's finished nice and been upgraded to a certain standard, they want to live there.
That's fine. People want to live in a nice home, and I always say to landlords, the better quality you're putting out, the better quality you're going to attract for your property as well.
Yeah, definitely. And as I said, you don't need to spend a fortune to kind of revitalise your rental property's performance and transform its place within the market as well. We've seen it happen with properties over the last few years, and you know that they've had refurbs and renovations and things, and it just puts them in a completely different bracket. And there is a simple but kind of overlooked strategy, and that strategy is to really target the affluent tenants, and that's by upgrading the experience, the style, the comfort of a property, and you could raise the income and raise that ceiling price for your buy-to-let property. So fortunately today we are going to look at some constructive thinking, some smart purchases, and help of kind of like a handy guide of getting the great results needed, and not things that are going to cost the earth. And we've broken it down today, and we're going to run through it. So we're going to start off with some easy fixes for instant appeal. We're going to do smart storage solutions. We're going to look at that. Affordable styles and updates as well. Energy and security upgrades. Energy efficiency is a hot topic at the moment. Outdoor improvements, and that all-important curb appeal as well. So people that are watching today maybe think, well, the question is, does your rental home have maybe an unrealistic potential that you haven't considered? Let's dive right into all that and look at these points that I've broken it down to. Kerin, you're going to jump in and kick us off with some easy fixes for that instant appeal. So what do you have there then?
So, of course, first impressions count, as they do with everything, especially with your rental property, and the smallest tweaks can often make a big impact. So these quick and affordable fixes can move your property into a higher rental bracket without any major renovations. So obviously, renovations go very well, but these are some easy fixes just to obviously enhance your property. So replacing any harsh...
Yeah, well, that's what I was just going to say, because we were talking about like doing things without breaking the bank, and these, like I said at the beginning, high impact and low cost upgrades. And people do think, oh, but I don't have money to do a full renovation and refurb the entire property, but that's not always going to be necessary. So, and it could come down to like really small things and then all these incremental things that you could do that make a bigger impact. So, I mean, what are they, for example?
So, for example, your first one is replacing harsh white bulbs with soft glow LEDs. And this immediately gives a more warm, welcoming atmosphere, and also renewing any cracked or broken, cheap-looking light switches and plug sockets. Just these are the small things that they catch people's eye when they're coming in. So it just, as you say, first impressions count.
So, Kerin, you do property viewings and things, and obviously I've done them in the past, and it was something that I used to do quite a lot as a letting agent, but you do it quite a lot of your time as meeting tenants, taking them around, showing them. Are these dim lights and cracks and things on sockets now? Is that something you come across, or is that something you identify before you get to the tenants coming in because you've raised it with the landlord?
So these are things that obviously, I mean, my eyes home in on them because I'm looking for potential teething issues at the start of a tenancy. So even doing things like this is obviously going to minimise that as well. It's then going to be like if there are like any cracked socket switches, if you're replacing them before a tenancy is before there's even viewing started for it, you're not then going to run the risk of a tenant moving in and bringing these up as concerns. Yeah. And I say it's going to reduce the teething issues and obviously make a smoother start to your tenancy.
Yeah, definitely. So, and what other things apart from like bulbs and cracks and sockets and things?
So again, small, cheaper replacements that you can do is swapping ugly or dated door handles with stylish replacements. So swell from porcelain knobs in period homes to brushed steel handles on modern homes, and fix any wobbly front door locks. So I mean, that front door is literally first thing that they're coming in through. So if you've got one as well, I mean, we've seen it, and it's just the front door is caked in dirt and just whatever else has been just daily obviously passing by on it. But
it's that
just
first
give it a
impression.
wipe down. Yeah,
it's that first,
simple as just cleaning that door down can make such a difference coming into it as well.
Yeah, definitely. First impressions, as you say, count.
Yeah, but one of the main ones that we see, and this is probably the biggest one I would say in your easy fixes, is cleaning up scuffed walls and skirtings, and treat tired looking rooms to a fresh coat of wipeable paint in warm or neutral colour, and everything will just feel brighter and better as well. It's just obviously when you come in, we have a joke, and it's they should make the smell of fresh paint into an air freshener because that's ideally what people, when you're coming into that property, it's the smell of fresh paint will hit you, or the smell of new carpets as well. And it's that fresh, clean, inviting atmosphere that people say it's going to appeal to them. So, and it's just, it takes away that tired look as well.
Yeah, that new paint smell is something that really appeals. Yeah.
And obviously, bonus steps as well is saying yes to tenants with pets. So they often are devoted homemakers, they'll pay a premium rent, and you can instantly take out a pet insurance for a complete peace of mind as well. And obviously in situations like ourselves, we take that a bit additional towards the deposit as well, just so we've got that fail safe at the end of the tenancy. So there's a bit extra in the pot if there is any pet damage or it does need that extra clean. But to be honest, I've probably seen more damage caused by children than I have by pets in all my years doing this. So I know most people have pets as well. So if you say no to them, it does obviously filter down your clientele a lot in potential tenants there.
I mean, obviously the legislation's pending to change regards to decoration and pets and things. And if you're in the know, you'll know that. But I mean, in general, we don't say no to pets, or don't advise saying no, saying consider all pets and everything on an individual basis. And generally, people that have got pets are more than willing to pay that wee bit extra to secure the property and give that wee bit of peace of mind to the landlord because they have a pet. And responsible pet owners will do that.
Exactly, and it's, as we say, it's their home at the end of the day as well. So it's up to them to be responsible and look after the property, regardless of pets, no pets at all in it. So but these wee simple steps can obviously make it nice and attractive for whether somebody has pets or not.
Yeah, definitely. So that has a lot of good, easy fixes and quick things you could do that make all the difference. One thing that always comes up, and viewers, and you'll know this, Kerin, viewers always look for certain things, and parking's one of them, and storage is right up there as well. Storage solutions and having plenty of storage and smart storage solutions, I think, is the next point, and it's a really important one. Having nowhere to potentially maybe display or hide things away and store things away is a real pet peeve for a lot of tenants. Yet having plenty of it and a massive as a massive selling point. If you've got lots of storage and things, then you point that out to tenants, and they will really change their perspective on the property, because, as I say, it's right up there as one of the main things. And for hiding and holding the things that everybody owns, I mean, everybody's got a lot of stuff, and everybody's got those cupboards and things, and people want to bring their things with them. So storage ideas is a really important one. Even the simple things like hooks, shelves, and hanging places makes life so much easier. If it's coats, bags, things to put things away, they can sometimes add a lot of extra style to a property and remove the need for the tenants to then start implementing these things themselves and possibly drilling holes for coat hooks and bathrobes or utensils in the kitchen, or somewhere to put their books or their pictures and things as well. If these are already in place, then it minimises the risk for damage. I mean, do you see a lot of that in tenancies where there's not enough of these things provided, so tenants do it themselves and then maybe not done correctly?
Yeah, or especially if they've not been put in the right kind of area as well, and then you've got a high traffic area that's got all these coat hooks going up and the walls all marked from it because it's not actually been an allocated suitable space for it. So yeah, definitely having these things in the first place, like you say, it's going to prevent tenants from drilling holes in the wall where they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, I always feel as well, you won't find a more space efficient or, tidy like bedroom storage as these full height built-in wardrobes or even like the sliding mirrored wardrobes that have got the hanging and shelving and they're built into the wall. Or sometimes if there's a big room, it can be integrated into the room space, but they're fitted basically. And they also make the room look bigger when you've got the mirrored front on it as well. So it's like that illusion of a bigger space, plus it's providing storage. It's always good to have built-in wardrobe space in a bedroom, I think, whether that's a child's bedroom or the master bedroom.
It is, and obviously that built-in storage, it means as well if it's already built in, somebody's then not having to come and that's an extra thing that they're having to buy, maybe if they're starting out or if they've come from somewhere that does have built-in wardrobes, because I mean wardrobes can be quite pricey as well. So
yeah.
Obviously for a tenant that's moving in and they're paying their deposit and their rent and their moving costs, a wardrobe could be something that completely swings it for them, whether it's got it in or not. And that's something I've seen in more so new builds than like your ex-council properties. A lot of them don't have any storage really in them. So it's when you're doing the viewings and the tenant's like, oh, there's no wardrobes in here. It's like, no, there's not, because it's a new build.
Always something that comes up, yeah. What's your thoughts on, like bathroom cabinets and things? I always like, and if you've got a more modern contemporary bathroom suite that's been put in, you have sometimes these shelving units and things or storage and that's recessed into the walls, maybe like alongside the sink and things. But you could also implement cabinets and wall-mounted cabinets and things as well. They are a useful means of storage, but what's your take on maybe including them as part of the let if there's not storage in the bathroom?
If you've got like a bathroom and it's like, for example, like a vanity sink and it's kind of built in with the sink unit, you'd see more kind of, if you're going for a bathroom, I'd say quality is key in that aspect, because obviously it's a bathroom, it's a high condensated area, it's a high traffic area, you're going to have everybody in the household going to be using it. Especially if you've got a family and it's just the one bathroom, you're going to have potentially about 4 people using that shower on a daily basis. So you're going to get more wear and tear on like these, like the freestanding ones, for example, that go underneath the sink. So I would probably advise against freestanding ones if they're not a good quality, just because it probably give you some issues throughout the tenancy. But if, for example, you are fitting a bathroom, a vanity sink is great, and they're usually built in good quality, suitability that's obviously designed for that room. So they're quite a good thing to have. And I mean, obviously a bathroom, you need a bit of storage in it just for all your bits and pieces that go in there. So it's quite handy to have them, or even like a wee medicine cabinet with, like you say, like a mirror on it as well, fitted to the wall, can be quite a good thing. So again, your tenant's not putting holes where they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think maybe freestanding under sink or under the basin, maybe isn't a good idea. But when you've got this integrated vanity unit, it's providing storage. It's a fixed feature, and it provides storage. And likewise with the wall-mounted ones as well. Definitely a good thing to think about, because you need to think about if you're doing renovations or doing or refurbs, or even if you're just like thinking of revamping a wee bit, always think about the tenant's needs. Like think about if you were living there, what would you need? Because the tenants are going to be the same. And when it comes to storage, that's what you need to think about. I think as well as like a kind of bonus as well. You were talking about bonuses on the easy fixes. A bonus with the storage is a really well-planned storage means that tenants don't need to really buy bulky freestanding, like, these cupboards and shelves, and then eliminate them having to bring these in and out the property, which then reduces the cause for maybe chipping and scuffing walls and things on their way in and out, which is a common thing that we see quite a lot, and that it often doesn't really count as wear and tear. If you're coming in and damaging the walls with furniture in and out, that's not a wear and tear thing, that's damage. So you're minimising all that risk with having these things in place and less in and out with furnishings to create storage that should or could already be there.
Yeah, and storage is something that we always highlight whenever I'm doing viewings or we're doing our video tours as well for the listings. It's something I always highlight. So, and when we're doing the viewings, it's like, look at this cupboard, because people do need storage space. And like you say, even for things like your Hoover, like an ironing board, a mop bucket, like all these things that they're too bulky to be like sitting under a kitchen unit, and you need that storage space for them.
Yeah. What about things like, obviously, I mean, being on trend and stylish and things like that is really, it's really a popular thing nowadays, and social media and everything really pushes that out and displays that. But then you don't have to really, again, break the bank to have really a good on trend stylish property. Kerin, you've got some effective and really efficient kind of style updates that you could do that aren't breaking the bank.
Yeah, I mean, before we get into some obviously tips on this, my key advice is keep things neutral. Obviously, like whites and greys are very in just now. If you've got something magnolia, it's time to update it. So, but there are some little things that you can do.
Neutral is an on-trend thing, and you can't really go wrong with neutral and for the long term.
It is, and it's a nice blank canvas for tenants, and regardless of them what their furniture style is, it's probably going to go with a white wall, for example. So keeping it neutral is obviously the most attractive for tenants, and just that nice clean blank canvas basically for them to be able to come in, move their furniture in and feel settled in it as well. But obviously a well-presented home attracts better tenants and commands a higher rent. So refreshing the decor doesn't always have to cost a fortune. So obviously going back to like bathrooms, for example, bathroom fittings are not too expensive, and a new wash basin or toilet or tub can seriously elevate things, as well as replacing like unpredictable tap and the hose in a thermostatic shower. Obviously we see it quite often that showers can be one of the biggest things, just obviously if you've got that lime scale head or obviously the pipe that's the cord that's going between obviously the shower and the mixer valve, it can get so dirty and it just looks so unappealing.
Mixer taps can be quite problematic as well, especially like you're saying, if you've got a family, it's a high traffic and high use area, and a mixer tap just sometimes malfunctions. So you maybe look for something stylish that's maybe too, like they're separate, so you've got hot and cold separate as well.
Even like the rail as well that a shower curtain goes on, obviously keeping an eye on them because they can get quite rusty, and when people are coming in they're going to see that, and it just gives that impression that it's not clean. So that's obviously kind of the image that you're putting out there, just that it's not clean anyway, so why would they keep it clean? That's kind of that. So obviously just simple things replacing it.
Yeah, if you've got a property that's got the shower rail and the shower curtain, it's probably a good idea between tenancies just to replace it for the amount of the minimal cost that it really is to have that new and fresh. I mean, you're not going to ideally leave a shower curtain from the last tenant in place. They're really like a hotbed for just like germs, and so you would ideally change that anyway. But the shower rail as well is a good point, because it's the condensation, and if you've got these like chrome or chrome style, these are going to weather quite quickly in the condensation and steam in a bathroom.
Exactly. And coming on to kitchens as well, replacing cabinet doors or even just the handles on kitchen units can deliver a completely new look for them without replacing the actual carcasses themselves. And because they often stay in very good condition, and it's just obviously your surface level, your doors, your worktops that are taking most of the wear and tear for it. So even some kitchens, I mean, you can see a complete transformation and just putting new handles on some of them. It just completely elevates them. So just again, depends how far you want to go into the work, but little changes can make such a difference for it. Obviously, we see quite a few people with like older kitchens painting them. I mean, it can make it look really good, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind for wear and tear. Yes. So you can see, I mean, the paint can chip, especially if it's a tenanted property and you're going to have maybe a changeover in tenancies, families in it as well. Like that paint can chip as well. And same with like vinyl wrapping. It can get tears in it, rip a bit. And so if you are doing things like that, you do have to obviously, one, do it right in the first place, and two, take into account you are going to get wear and tear on it as well. And then that could also affect you for a next tenancy because they'll come in and see scratched units, for example. So it's something obviously take into account.
Yeah, the kitchen area is like is an important area. Again, really high traffic area, especially in family homes. But it's an important area for any home because people do kind of like the kitchen. They do congregate and things in the kitchen. So like cabinets and things as well. But I mean, if you've got a furnished property or part furnished, or even if you just provide white goods and things, white goods are things that, like especially washing machines and that as well, they take a lot, especially with a family unit. They'll take a lot of use. So it's like, what would your advice be with appliances and things?
So buying nearly new appliances from top manufacturers such as Bosch adds premium product and a long-lasting reliability for the same price as like a new budget brand model. So obviously shopping about and getting like ones can make obviously all the difference. And again, appliances, it's something that people are going to notice when they're coming in as to what kind of washing machine you've got. Is the washing machine as old as the person that's viewing, or is it a few years old and you're still going to get some life out of it? I've seen some ones that are older than me, I'm pretty sure. So these are all things that people notice.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, old-fashioned or cracked tiles in the kitchen and bathroom can detract from the surrounding decor, but you can find excellent value, modern designs at a host of at so many online stores. They've got various different ones that if you shop about and obviously do your shopping, do your research, you can get them for a good price. And obviously, as I say, that'll then in turn bring you in a better return on the property.
Yeah. And I think even like in places like, do you know, the local B&Q and thing have lots of good ranges of tiles and things as well.
Yeah, exactly. And there's different, obviously, I think a lot more people have come into the kind of DIY and upcycling side of it now as well. So, I mean, online can be great ways for you to just pick up like top tips on how to actually change things and just even give you some style inspiration as well as to what's going to be like nice and modern, what's going to attract somebody in as well for it. So the knowledge is there. You just have to look for it.
Yeah.
But again, coming back to the interior, so your dirty floor coverings are just depressing, but many don't need replacing. So carpets can look like new again with a deep power clean, while engineered timber floors can be stained and oiled. So again, you don't always have to replace. Sometimes just a really good deep clean is what things are needing just to give them that new lease of life. I mean, we've seen it. Tenants have gone in and just, again, wear and tear on them. The carpets do get a bit grubby over time, especially in high traffic areas. My pet peeve is when people have carpet right at the front door when you're coming in. It's just a recipe for disaster. Basically, you should at least, if you're going to have carpet there, have the corrugated thing that's basically like a mat. Because coming in, especially if it's, for example, champagne coloured carpets, and somebody's coming right in with their dirty feet. I mean, even if you've got a mat down, you're still going to get overspill from that. So you are going to have dirty carpets in areas like that. So put in required floor in the right areas as well as another key there for making sure your property keeps looking fresh.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a good tip as well with the carpets is like you get really good mid-range carpets that aren't too expensive but are really good quality. And like you're saying, like champagne colour and beige and things, I mean, they're not going to last the test of time, and especially in hallways and things as well. I think quite a good on-trend colour is like anthracite, which is a kind of darker grey colour. That tends to be quite a good choice and has been for several years. Sorry?
Forgiving.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Takes a wear for it anyway, so it's things kind of blend in a little bit better. So, and again, if it's getting a clean up as well, it cleans up. It's less likely to stain with a darker color than it is obviously like a beige or a champagne or a neutral color carpet. So going for those darker or greys, they do seem to be a lot more forgiving than your lighter colored ones. But as a final tip, when you're buying products like paint or tiles, it's always good to order a little bit extra so you've got it for future touch-ups. Obviously, different brands can vary slightly, so just making sure that you've got those bits. It's just future-proofing yourself as well. Even landlords that do have the same paint, I mean, sometimes if you're going for that more niche colour, it can, even when you're doing your touch-ups with the exact same tin, it can still have a slight variation to it. So going for a colour that's still, again, quite neutral-based as opposed to that, like, specific color scheme for it, it can make it a lot easier for, I mean, white is quite easy to touch up. White is white. You do get different shades of white, obviously, but still, it's a lot easier to touch up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So keep that extra just to touch up, and it would make all the difference rather than having to go out and buy again, and you could keep a hold of what you've already obviously painted and things. We spoke about energy saving and like security updates and things as well, and upgrades. And I think with energy bills and more increases in things with energy bills on the horizon, finding those ways to lower your property's running costs while raising the level of kind of comfort, it's a really winning combination. And if you could get that right, it really boosts your rental value. And now, this could be just things like reduced drafts by fitting door covers over possibly the door, the letterbox, the keyholes, adding insulation strips around the doors, and filling any of these, if there's cracks around windows and things and frames, they should all be wind and watertight anyway. So these all need to be obviously made wind and watertight, and filling these in and around the window and skirting boards and things as well should all be given attention. But definitely, I think if you've got timber front doors and things, if it's a UPVC, you shouldn't have that. You'll have have the 5-lock system, which should be airtight. But then timber frame doors and windows and things really need a wee bit more maintenance and upkeep. If you have them in place, definitely do your maintenance on them, because it will reduce costs and it'll increase the comfort for the tenant as well.
Yeah, we see timber doors as one of the worst ones, just obviously making sure they're varnished and painted, and obviously in the summertime and winter they're going to swell and everything as well, so it's making sure you do keep on top of them. And to be honest, if you do, even if you're setting a little bit of rent aside each month for upgrading the doors over time and putting like a UPVC door in, it'll make all the difference to both your energy efficiency and obviously the curb appeal as well for the property. A nice new fresh door and attractiveness for tenants. I mean, you see ones and it's like, oh, it's a timber door on it. And even if they're not thinking about the energy efficiency side of it, it is even for the visual aspect as well. Obviously, a UPVC one can look a lot better than maybe a tired timber door that somebody's not kept on top of the varnishing for it or the painting for it, and it's seen better days.
Would you say it's fair to say that, I mean, like you're talking about seasonal wear and things, and especially like timber frame windows and timber doors, would you say it's fair to say this should be done on an annual basis?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as somebody that has had both timber door and obviously the windows double glazed, still wooden frame though, it is, you do have to keep on top of them. And even after 2 years, just with this weather that we get here as well, we see that, again, even using a good paint, doing it properly, you do see the weather into it. So rather than you having to completely redo it, keeping on top of them is obviously key there. Prevention is better than obviously having to completely redo it. So from personal experience, keep on top of the woodwork.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for your own personal experience, and mine's as well, and the past things as well, the annual maintenance, because timber doors and timber windows and things are fine as long as they're looked after. And I think if you've got south facing, where your door or your window, whoever's going to get the rain and then the sun, and then the rain and then the sun and then the cold, you know, it takes its toll over the course of the year. So yeah, definitely annual maintenance on these if you've got them in place, and it'll save you. I mean, it'll save you money in the long run because they'll last a lot longer rather than you having to replace a lot sooner. So it's definitely something to think about.
Exactly.
And that's a good energy saving tip, I have to say. With security, the installation of alarms and things, I mean, it's entirely up to each individual. You could give that sense of providing an extra security to the tenant if there's an alarm and things in place. It can reduce the cost for the tenant's insurance as well if they want to do their own contents insurance and things, or they should be anyway. And also for your own insurance as well. So you could reduce costs that way on your insurance by having security systems in place. I know a lot of people don't maybe want to do that, and that's fine. As I say, on an individual basis, if it's something you're going to consider, you could get the benefit of that through both yourself and your tenant's insurance costs.
I think as well for the safety aspect, obviously a lot of people have got, for example, like doorbells now. Obviously, I mean, ring doorbells are a big thing. A lot of people do have them, so it's good to even obviously having the facility for a tenant to be able to like have a space to put one of them up if they want to, without obviously damaging the door. Obviously, you get the battery ones that are chargeable that they can just fit up there as well. But just obviously take into account your tenant might want to put something like that up. Just as I say, most people have actually got them now, but it's a nice little extra security measure there as well.
Yeah, definitely. And they're just some simple, inexpensive upgrades that you could do to reduce the tenant's bills, possibly your own bills, and give them that wee bit of a more warmer, securer home, and create that kind of feel-good factor as well. They're consuming less energy, possibly. They're a wee bit safer in the property, and then really, what's not to like about that? I think if you're implementing these things and it's making the tenant feel that way and saving yourself and the tenant a bit of money, it's a bit of a win-win situation, to be fair.
And that's the thing, everybody wants to save money, whether it's landlords, tenants. So little things can obviously save more money in a landlord's pocket and more money in the tenant's pocket because they're not having to pay out on these expenses. Like you say, energy efficiency is one of the key ones there. Obviously, it's usually quite cold and miserable here with the weather, so it's good in the winter time to have these little things in place just to obviously make it more energy efficient for your home. Your tenant doesn't want to be rattling up big gas bills just for it to be escaping right out a drafty door or a drafty window, when you could do little improvements just to obviously make it more energy efficient for them.
Yeah, definitely. we're going to move on to like outdoor improvements and curb appeal. And I'm going to come to you, Kerin, because I know you've spent a lot of time on your garden since you got your home. So you could give us some tips here as well. And it's easy to, a property, the exterior of the property, the garden, the grounds, and the exterior to kind of be overlooked and become a wee bit scruffy, to say the least. And then especially in the winter time when the weather's bad and things like here in Scotland, but it creates a kind of disappointing first and lasting impression as well for a tenant. But there are some simple solutions to kind of get around that, and it doesn't have to be, hours in the garden and a lot of expense. So, I mean, run us through some tips on that then, Kerin.
So obviously removing any junk, jet wash paths, paving, decking, use organic spray like killer to eliminate any weeds and fix any falling fence panels, and then obviously treat them for long lasting weatherproofing. So just the general things, even like a tidy up. I mean, the wind can blow so many things around the gardens around here. So especially when you've got highly populated areas as well. So even just doing a clear out of the garden can be obviously you're taking away all that rubbish as well. And if somebody's seen like rubbish lying in the garden, it's like, oh. So you want to obviously keep that curb appeal for it and make sure your garden's nice and tidy as well as maintained. Yeah,
it could be really off-putting, and just a general tidy up could do all the difference. But then people might think, it might just be a small garden. Some properties just have a small outdoor space at the front and back, or even just the back or whatever, and might think, I don't really need to do much here. But then that's the thing that's overlooked again. So what about small gardens? I mean, they still have to be maintained and kept tidy.
They do, and that's the thing, regardless of what size it is, people appreciate outdoor space. So regardless of whether it's a big garden, a small garden, even a little balcony area, keeping these areas nice and maintained, again, you're getting that curb appeal, and it's also promoting that outdoor aspect for a tenant as well. I mean, the amount of viewers that have maybe been in flats previously and they're moving to a property, and again, it doesn't have to have the biggest garden, but you hear them being like, oh, a garden, like it would be so nice for them to have. So it is really a key area. But even if you do have a smaller garden, but things like pea gravel and natural stone pavers are a stylish and low maintenance alternative to grass, and it is ready for a tenant to add some outdoor furniture and a few pots as well. So you don't always have to have grass in your property. If you do have, like, as we say, chips down, it's still, they could put pots out if they want to, if they do like their garden space with some nice colourful flowers, just to add that pop of nature and colour to it, while still obviously keeping it low maintenance as well. But if you do have a larger garden, then consider adding some seasonal garden service to the rent to keep it looking beautiful and valuable without being a burden to less green-fingered tenants. So again, we've got some properties and they have absolutely huge gardens, and it's a great space, but our mature gardens as well that are, for example, we've got some that are like over various tiers. They've got really mature shrubbery in them, and they come with a gardener, because at the end of the day, not every tenant is going to know how to maintain that, or even have the time. If they're working full time, they might not have the time to deal with the garden. So I know myself, mine is quite a good size, but I've made it nice and low maintenance. So all I have to do when I get in from work is cut the grass and it's done. So again, making things nice and low maintenance for your tenants is key, because not everybody is into their gardening, but they can still appreciate the outdoor space for it.
Yeah, I think that's the point. A lot of people don't take to gardening and the outdoor space quite well. But I mean, with just some small amount of effort to just clear it up and keep it tidy without having to, you don't have to start excavating and being like Alan Titchmarsh about it. But clean, tidy, and like you say, low maintenance is a good way to go. As long as people have an outdoor space to enjoy, I think it's really, really important.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, premium tenants are attracted to good-looking outdoor areas for effortless enjoyment. So that includes no signs of neglect or no potential problems or time-intrusive keep-ups.
Yeah.
So as we say, low maintenance is key.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point when it comes to gardens, if you can make them low maintenance. But yeah, I think there's, I mean, we've run through all our points this morning, and I think hopefully we've demonstrated that you don't need to break the bank. You don't need to put in lots and lots of effort. It doesn't need to take a lot of time. And all these small changes can really enhance your property, get you a better rent, have happier tenants, and it benefits both you as the landlord and the tenant as well. So that's the thing, is it's not just the tenant, it's not just the landlord benefit from this. The tenant's getting a more comfortable home. There's something, they're going to be saving a little bit of money. Do you know what? Just by implementing these simple strategies and things that some people might think is just general. It'd be interesting if some of you, I could see some of you in the comments if you want to join in and tell us, like, do you think these are just general things that you should be doing, or do you think, that these are things that you're not doing? That would be more interesting to know as well.
Yeah, and I mean, people say happy wife, happy life. Well, happy tenant, happy landlord. So if you're putting the work in to obviously keep a happy tenant. Well, happy partner, happy partner, happy life, happy tenant, happy landlord. So it is good, obviously, just to do these little things, just to keep your property standard up and keep the tenant happy, keep a good quality out there as well. And even when it comes around to, for example, it's maybe time to do a rent review of the property. If you've been keeping on top of maintenance things and keeping the property looked after, your tenant's then not going to be in as much of a position that they're getting maybe disgruntled about it, because it's like, well, I'm paying for this to be looked after. So again, it's going to benefit you in the long run, as well as at the point where a tenant's free to move in.
Yeah, definitely. And if anybody watching, if you want to boost your property's rental income, have a happy tenant, then of course follow these simple tips that we've run through today. Or indeed, you could reach out to us direct. My contact details are in the post and the blog attached. You could jump in the comments and message directed to either Kerin or I, and we will respond to you. If it's on the rerun, you could jump in the comments still. We will get to them and come back to you guys. But we're going to leave it there this morning. That was really good, Kerin. Thank you for all your insights on just keeping properties at a certain level, I think, where you're going to get good tenants, happy tenants, and a happy landlord as well.
Yep, that is the key. We want everybody happy.
Yeah. Okay, Kerin, thanks for that. We will be back as normal for the Saturday show next Saturday at 9:30, and you can catch us on the rerun or the podcast. And till then, I will see you later. Thanks, Kerin.
Bye.
Bye.